Hey guys, Mish here again with another Linux tutorial. In this tutorial we will show you how to set up the LAMP stack with phpmyadmin and secure it. We are using Ubuntu again, Ubuntu server for this one. I will have a couple other distributions like I have with one of the other tutorials also coming soon. But yeah, but we're going to show you how to install both LAMP and phpmyadmin and secure it, so you can get a website with a login or a forum or anything like that. This can even be used for Minecraft servers for certain plugins if you really need to. As always, you need to SSH into the system, unless you use a VPS provider that comes with a pre-built installer sort of thing, as in like you can click a button and it will install it for you. If you have that, then this video isn't for you, because it will literally have all the things you need, and it'll probably send you the usernames and passwords of the security things and everything like that, and a lot of the times they'll come with extra things like an FTP server and a few others. But if you haven't got that, then this tutorial is most likely going to be something what you're going to need to use. The first thing you're going to do is, obviously you're going to update the machine, so let's do that now. So as I'm aware, this is pretty up to date, so we won't have to worry about this. Yeah, there we go. And we are going to install Apache 2 for this tutorial. You can install Nginx, but I started, when I started, I used Apache 2 on a Windows box. Then as I moved away from Windows and more towards Linux, I stuck with Apache, and so that's what I'm going to be using for today. What you're going to do is you're going to run apt-get and put the S before the T. Literally apt-get install Apache 2, and you just press enter. It might ask you to press yes. If in that case, you can either just press enter or press Y and enter. And voila, you're done. What should happen, theoretically, is right, okay, for some reason XSplit decided it wanted to stop recording, so that's interesting, but that's fixed. And back to what I was saying, if you go to the IP of your box, like they'll usually be given to you by the provider of your VPS or your dedicated server, whatever you're running this on. And if you go to that IP, you should get something like this come up. This is the default page, and that shows that Apache is working. Now if we go back to our party session, we will now set up and install MySQL and secure it. So we're going to run apt-get install with L's instead of K's, mysql-server, and then php5-mysql, and just press enter. Might ask you to press Y again, so just do it, and this will guide you through the install. It will ask you for a root password to log in to MySQL, obviously. So what we do is just provide one. It'll ask for it twice, and then it'll do that, and then it'll install. It should install without an issue here. Yeah, we can get into securing it, and removing anonymous access, outside the network access type jobbies. So what we're going to do, and to get that to work, is mysql underscore install underscore db. Press enter, and then mysql underscore secure underscore installation. So make sure I spell that correctly and press enter. What it's going to ask is it's going to ask for your root password, like the one you literally just set up a second ago when installing it. If you're not happy with the password you have, then press no, or type in no, or press N, and it will ask you to set up your password again. For the rest of these, the first one you're going to press no for, and then you're just going to press enter for the rest of them basically. And now that's stopped like outside the network access and a few other things. Right. Now MySQL's set up, it's time to install PHP and a few other libraries and stuff that we'll need further down the road. For this one, I am pasting it in from my other screen because there's just too much to type for that one without it taking too long. This is then going to install PHP and a couple libraries that we need for a little bit further on. Natively, Apache won't serve up PHP files before it serves up a HTML file. So what you need to do is you need to change that within the Apache configuration. For a lot of this stuff you can just tab in. Also make sure you spell everything correctly. .conf. And as you can see here, index.html is here, and index.php is here. What that is it's then going to decide from that which one it's going to serve up first if it gets one of those files. So right now, the HTML is going to come before .php. So what you're going to do is you're going to scroll along to the index.php, move it, and type it in at the front. Obviously, to exit nano, Control X, Y, enter. And we start Apache, which is just service Apache 2, and we start. It's going to restart it. If you get an error, cannot allow redetermined servers for the qualified domain name, don't worry about that. It just throws that out sometimes, depending on the type of server install you got. Right, to make sure PHP is working, as you saw before, we had the Ubuntu default page up. To make sure that PHP is working, we're now going to get the same sort of page, but it's going to have our PHP info on it. So like what's installed on it, max upload, all that kind of info. Comes in handy if you're diagnosing a few things, but I wouldn't leave it open into the public on a production system. So once you've done this, I would recommend removing it. So nano var www html and index.php. There should be nothing in this file when you've created this. If there is, then well, I don't know. It just shouldn't. The way we're installing this, it shouldn't. You're going to want to put this in, and that's literally all it's going to be. And then you Control X, Y, enter it out again. Now, theoretically, if you go back over to your page, this one, and hit refresh, it still serves up the HTML file. So what we're going to do is rm/var www.html index.html, and we're just going to press enter for now. We're moving this page here. Where's my export? There we go. So now if we refresh the page, that shouldn't have done that, which means I've broken something. But theoretically, it should come up with something like this, tell you everything like what's installed, the configs, locations of the configs, all kinds of different things. Right, so now we jump back over to our party session, and now we've got all that set up and working, because we know it works. Now, let me just check. What's happened enabled? Oh, I see what I did there. There's a little bit of a spelling mistake by me. If you type in that properly, you won't get the error that what just happened to me, but accidents happen sometimes. And that was completely unplanned. Right, yeah, but now we have the LAMP stack installed, we can now install phpmyadmin to make administrating the databases a hell of a lot easier, like creating them, allowing certain users to connect to them. Like I use mysql workbench to connect to some of mine, so I've like whitelisted my IP through the firewall and on phpmyadmin, so it allows it to log in. Yeah, it just makes it a lot easier. And if you need, for some reason, you need to drop tables or anything like that, instead of having to do it all from a command line, you can do it like from your web browser. And literally, all it is to do this is apt-get install phpmyadmin, and yeah, you need to install a few extra things for Apache as well. Apache 2-utils, yep. That's now going to install. Download and install everything what it needs. This is quite important. If you don't press space here, and then press OK, it won't set it up correctly sometimes, and we can throw out errors. Admittedly, I've messed up in the past and not done that, and then wondered why it's not working. And I've gone back and had a look at what I've done, like, oh, I've forgotten to tick that again. Literally, here you're just going to press yes, and the password that you set up right at the beginning, you put in there, then you put in a different password here, or the same password depending on what you want to do. I wouldn't recommend using the same password, especially if you're using this on a production machine, just in case somebody does manage to find a way in. Right, now that's installed, we do need to enable a PHP mod, which we installed back in the right back at the top when we were installing MySQL or PHP, one of the two, and that is the mcrypt mod. So what we're going to do is php5 en mod, not morph, and then mcrypt, and let's just press enter, and we're going to restart Apache. Right, now that works. Now that's done. If you come back over to your web browser, ta-da, like that, and we go, oh, no, not new tab, and we go to phpmyadmin, we will now get this login page. But what if someone finds this? They could theoretically break in through this. Still, no, it's secure. Like they'd need to know a username and password in the approved users list inside. but we don't want that. We just in case, they've managed to breach it somewhere else, found a leak online, say you've been hacked before or something like that, and they found a leak. This is not what we want. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of an extra layer of security using .htaccess and .password files. Is it not password? Yeah. .htpasswd. Right. To do this, we will need to configure Apache's config for phpmyadmin. We're literally just adding a line of text. So nano /etc. Remember, you can tab a lot of this in, because a lot of it is repeated. I like making the space there so it looks clean. So there's still space between each bit, so you can see what's there. Right. You can see like the setup one. If we were doing this a different way, there's a slightly different way of installing it, but we're not using that. It's already installed, and we don't need that. So what we're going to add is AllowOverride space. Oh, like caps is very important in here. If you don't put them in, it can sometimes stop it from working. So this is quite important. But that's actually all you have to do in there. And now we're going to create the htaccess file. So we're going to create a new. We're going to be creating a new file. So .u/user share phpmyadmin and then .htaccess and press enter. I am pasting this in because it's just easier for this bit. Note, this bit here is quite important. If you do plan on sticking your files anywhere else, you will need to come back, well, your .htpasswd file, you will need to come back to here and change this location here to where it is. But once that's in there, Control X on Y, enter, that's created. We will now, using Apache utility, the .htpasswd file. So htpasswd -c/etc apache2 and then .phpmy.htpasswd space, and then we're going to put a username. So I'm just going to use smish here, and we're going to put a password in here. Right. Just for good measure, I restart Apache because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we're going to do that. And now, if we go back over to our web browser again, whoosh, magic fade, and hit refresh, it will now ask us for authentication. So what we're going to do, log in as me, and this will show up. You can do this if you want. I tend not to, just for security reasons. And just to make sure phpmyadmin works, we'll log in, and it all works there. Also gives you a bit of information on what you're running over here, just in case you ever need to know. Just like this is all their stuff. This is what it's running on. And create databases, blah blah, all in here. Users in here. And it's all pretty straightforward once you get in. So yeah. And there you have it. I work in Ubuntu web server and phpmyadmin install. Like I said before, this can be used for web dev, a login system, or like a few people I know, and a lot of websites out there use forums and to create the databases, make sure everything's working properly. You usually will use something like phpmyadmin if you're not experienced enough to do it all from the command line. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I like a comment and perhaps subscribing would be nice to help out a little bit. And until the next one, guys, have fun with your Linux servers and have a good one.